Hey everybody, it's Friday, November 15th, 2013, and you are listening to Film Fetish, your home for fetishistic film fuckery. I'm your host, Connor Boyd. Today I'm joined by Alex Powell.
Why, hello there.
Aaron Dye.
Yo!
Jarrod White.
Toodle.
And our guest, Morgan Capodilupo. That was a butchering, wasn't it?
It's Capodilupo.
Capodilupo.
Capodilupo. Like top of the morning, too.
The capital of Lupo.
Capodilupo.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about the Coen brother film, A Serious Man.
He's so serious.
I
tried to be a serious man.
Exactly.
And he's busy right now.
Alright.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about.
That was a reference that we'll go over every time.
Anyway.
So, I don't know, why don't we just go around the horn, talk about what movies we watched this week. I'll start. Thor 2. I saw the second.
You saw Thor 2?
I saw Thor 2.
I heard it was awesome.
It was not bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as like Iron Man or...
Well, just
It
so we
wasn't
have
as good as
some,
Iron
just
Man.
so we have some perspective. How did you like the first Thor?
Well, that's the thing is I didn't see the first Thor.
Oh, okay.
So, but I started watching the first Thor and I could tell that that one wasn't as good as the one I watched. But I don't know, I liked it. It was, it was funny. It was kind of a smaller film, like, because it was just Thor and then just this small group of people and Loki. And it was just kind of like, it wasn't quite as grand scale as Iron Man. Iron Man really, those movies really make you feel like the entire world's at stake, whereas Thor just takes place in, like, London, and it's not, like, a big deal. But, I don't know, it was good. It was shot really well. Like, the first 10 minutes, I was just thinking, like, wow, look at all this money. Like, it's so much money. Because those Marvel movies
The first
make
Thor
a lot
was
of
like
money
that too. At the
cost.
beginning, it was really extravagant. They had this huge fight with all the frost giants. But then later on, it was like
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman like running around on a street,
Yeah.
which was cool. But it was like
Yeah.
they definitely like hooked you with the big special effects at the beginning in that movie too. So
Right. No, yeah, definitely. And I couldn't stop thinking when I first started watching Thor 1 was about how the video game sucked. Because the video game, you just fight a bunch of frost giants. And so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
these are the frost giants. But, yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I can't wait for, like, Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers 2 and Captain America and all that stuff. I'm really a big... I like comic books casually, so...
I'm excited for Captain America.
Yeah, the
I
new
like the
one looks
first one.
awesome.
Yeah, the trailer looks cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Thor 1 though. I thought that was kind of silly.
I really liked Thor 1, and
do
I
like
hated
Thor 1.
Captain America.
I thought Captain America was so solid.
I
thought it was
hated
thought it was
Captain
solid.
I found
America.
Captain America to be a solid movie, and I thought Thor was like really surprisingly solid. And then, of course, when the credits started rolling, it's like, oh, directed by Kenneth Branagh. Well, that explains a
Yeah,
lot,
exactly.
probably, doesn't
I
it?
thought Thor was
So-
such a fun movie. Like
Really?
that was one
It
of my
was.
favorite recent superhero movies. I thought it was just so fun.
Really?
It focused on the characters in a way that was not like so character driven, but also it wasn't like, just a costume. Which some of these recent superhero movies I've been, it's like the character is the costume, and I'm like, give me a little bit of something to latch onto. And
I feel
Thor
that.
had an arc, and it made sense, and it had some
They made a
I mean, this
typically
was-
stoic and uninteresting character.
interesting, which is
Yeah.
Thor is definitely one of the hardest of those main group
Yeah.
of superheroes to make interesting because he is a god and you have all that, immortality stuff going on. How do you care about a guy who is a god?
It's kind of like
They did a really
making
good job, I
Superman
think.
interesting.
Or they-
Exactly.
yeah.
Which they've been failing at time and time again.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I also I also saw
Well, you did sigh, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cy Abelman.
Inside.
sigh, Abelman,
I saw Inside Llewyn Davis.
which I'm jealous.
It was
I
really
had to
good.
work. I couldn't go to the screening. I had to work.
Oh, it's fine.
I had class.
You'll see it.
I had sitting in your living room and doing nothing. So,
That takes up a lot of time.
yeah, it totally does.
Yeah, so I don't know. I found a lot of similarity between A Serious Man and this movie. A Serious Man is like kind of like a week or so of this guy's life, and so is Inside Llewyn Davis. They're both about people struggling to do what they do, trying to be nice people and just be normal. And they both just make fun of they both show how dorky like a certain group of people are, like all these funny like upper middle class, like Jewish people in A Serious Man are really dorky and funny, and then like in Inside Llewyn Davis, it's like fucking like the most dorky folk singing.
It's like the Greenwich Village type scene.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And there is a nod at the end towards Bob Dylan, but I won't give away how. But it's a funny like thing. It's like just a very subtle thing. And then when I went to this screening, they were playing Bob Dylan beforehand, of course, to get you in the mood for the folk singing. And
I love it.
I don't know. It was good. It wasn't particularly fast paced or anything. It was kind of long, hour and 45, 50 minutes, I think, and it dragged on for quite a while. But there were some very, very good scenes, some great acting, and it was shot well. And I know they used a new Bruno, whatever his name is.
Bruno Del Bono.
Yeah, they used a new cinematographer, and I think he did a good job.
Cool.
So yeah,
Speaking
I liked
of
it.
Bob Dylan, one of the films that I saw was I'm Not There, which is the Todd Haynes, Bob Dylan semi-biopic.
Yeah.
Semi-biopic?
Semi-biopic because Bob Dylan is played by either 5 or 6 different actors.
How is that done?
6.
That sounds cool.
If you don't know Todd Haynes, I kind of wonder why people don't talk about Todd Haynes more, because he's such an interesting and like really good director who has made mainstream films that have received acclaim, but they don't, like, people never talk about Todd Haynes.
They haven't done that director movie association thing.
Yeah, people don't say Todd Haynes like they say, Coen Brothers or Paul Thomas Anderson. But
yeah.
I'd say he's definitely like in that batch, like comparable to Paul Thomas Anderson. He's done Far From Heaven with Julianne Moore, which is a great like homage to the Douglas Sirk melodramas, like All That Heaven Allows. And he did Safe, which is another one with Julianne Moore. And this one, I'm Not There. The best one, I love this movie. I thought it was so great and so engrossing and interesting. And the way they go about portraying the different sides of Bob Dylan's personality through these different actors is really intriguing. And the best sequences in the movie are the ones where Bob Dylan's played by Cate Blanchett.
It's played by a woman.
One of them is played by a woman.
Wow.
And as a child, he's played by a young African-American actor.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
like
that
one of the
Mark-
first scenes is that actor, and he jumps onto a boxcar, and he's talking to these hobos. Yes, Marcus Carl Franklin, yeah. And, but the Cate Blanchett segments are shot in black and white, and it's during his, like, mid-60s period. Like, there's this great scene where he plays at, I believe it's the New England Jazz and Folk Festival, and it's the first time he goes electric, and he gets up on the stage, and they play
that was
Maggie.
a big deal.
And they play Maggie's Farm, and there's this great tracking shot after all the people have left, outraged at his new direction, and there's a tracking shot as it goes past all these people walking out, and they each turn to the camera and they say, "It's disgusting, it's horrible," and they each say like a little thing, and then there's this woman, and she turns and she goes, "And I was his biggest fan," and it's so great. But those sequences have a lot of like influence of 8.5.
Oh yeah.
Like, it looks like straight out of 8.5. And and I was thinking that throughout all those sequences, I was like, wow, he definitely took influence from it. And then there's one shot where it's Bob Dylan on a wire floating and suspended above a city. And I'm like, well, there's my confirmation, because
Right.
that's like an image straight out of
Yeah.
8.5.
Definitely.
But the other sequences I really like are the ones where he's played by Richard Gere. And
Richard Gere, that would be visually a good match.
yeah,
Bob
but
Dylan.
he's like out in the woods, and he's living in like this cabin, riding this horse around. And there's one sequence set to One More Cup of Coffee, which is like maybe my favorite Dylan song. I was like, yeah, they used that song. But where he's walking through this like outlaw town, and like it's Halloween, and all the kids have these weird costumes on. And it's just really visually interesting. And there's another great sequence set to Ballad of a Thin Man that is just absolutely amazing. Such a cool interpretation of the song. But it's a movie that you come away from not really understanding Bob Dylan better, but understanding the way that Todd Haynes sees him,
Yeah.
or the way that other people see him, because that's a huge theme of it, the way he comes off to in the media and to his fans and to people who followed his career.
Yeah.
And it almost admits, like, you can't really pigeonhole an artist or understand them, which I think is one of the main reasons why you have him played by different actors and actresses.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't an icon, he's a human being,
Right.
which I thought was really cool.
And he went through phases, clearly.
Yeah.
Represented by different actors.
But
Well, that's really cool.
really cool movie.
Isn't Heath Ledger in that movie?
Heath Ledger is one of them.
Yeah, and was it originally just going to
Christian
be
Bale.
Heath Ledger?
I don't think so, because
Okay.
I read about Todd Haynes having the idea, and he was asking, I believe, someone on Dylan's management, like, how can I get Dylan's permission to make this movie? Like, how can I write up a little, like, summary and send it to him? And he said, just don't use the word genius in your summary, and I think you'll be okay. And I guess Dylan really dug the film when he saw it.
Yeah.
But,
So if Bob Dylan's not in the film at all?
no.
Oh. Huh. Cool. That's cool.
But really
got
cool. We got some
notifications.
Facebook notifications going on in the
I don't know what
background.
that's
But,
We're so popular.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, people do have the film
the,
fetish page.
but I really recommend that film and Todd Haynes' other films.
That's cool.
But the other two things I wanted to talk about, I'm kind of going to talk about at the same time because they're similar. Because I went on another one of my I want to see the most disgusting, depraved films I can kick.
Awesome.
So I checked out two that I'd been meaning to see. One's called Subconscious Cruelty, which I believe came out in like around 2000, but was in production for a long time. Really low budget movie, directed by a guy named Karim Hussain, who I guess he was trying to cross the border, and he was detained. And they thought his name was suspicious because his last name's Hussain. And then they
Wow.
That could be bad.
and then they played the film, and
Our
they were like,
president's
"Oh
middle name
boy,
is Hussain."
oh boy," because this film is like,
Wait, so he snuck across the border?
no, he was just going through customs,
Oh, but he had.
and they
his film
detained
on
him because he had this weird name and he had
That's
all this
so funny
film footage.
because our
And then
president-
they looked at the film,
Oh, okay. I see.
and it was like, "Whoa, this guy is suspicious."
So, what
Wow.
is this movie about?
This film,
I love how you get held back from customs with a name that is our president's middle name.
well, this is way
Barack
before
Hussein
that.
Obama.
This
No,
is
I
way
know.
before that. This
I know,
is
but I just
late
I
90s,
think
early
it's funny how
2000s.
that's
But
how we've progressed from that. Anyways,
no, that's true. Yeah,
you
but
were saying about the film.
it's sort of an anthology film, but sort of not in the sense that the stories are very loose and some of them are only like based in imagery, not narrative. But it's extraordinarily graphic,
Really.
extraordinarily so, and a lot of religious iconography perverted and made perverse and really unsettling. Some of the things we have something with a fetus going on in I believe the first section that is really cruel.
Really.
Like,
Is it subconscious?
it's pretty in your face. It's pretty in your face. It's out there. And then there's one part with all these people out in like a field and they're all naked and they're like making love to the earth. It kind of reminded me of, there's a sequence in Michelangelo Antonioni's Zabriskie Point, shot out in the desert, where there's these people doing like this love-making activity out in the desert on these like dunes and stuff with the sand, like, and they're covered in all the dirt, and this was kind of like the horror movie version of that.
It's really strange.
And there's some things happen to Jesus in this movie that aren't too pleasant.
You're gonna have to cover his eyes with a piece of paper.
Oh, I know, yeah. But if you're into that kind of movie, which I think you get the sense of what kind of movie it is already,
Yeah.
you'll like it. I really
I'll check
liked
it
it.
out.
It's really visually interesting and really low budget and looks really good. But the other one I saw, I watched this one after, and this one really comes with a reputation. It's called Melancholie der Engel. It's a German film. The title roughly means like
There's gonna be poop in it. I just know.
Angel's Melancholy. There is some poop.
There you go. I know it's a German film.
There's more urine
That's
urine
great.
than there is poop
Yep.
though.
Oh, okay.
But
More urine than poop. Urine to poop
I feel
ratio.
so smart talking about this
That's
movie.
your kind of thing. This is
Poop
perfect
and
for you.
pee.
Pooping and peeing
okay,
in this
so you're
movie.
looking-
But this movie, it's almost 3 hours long. It's really long. And good luck trying to figure out exactly what happens in it. I have my interpretation of what the
There's like no
the
plot
premise
to
of the
it.
movie is, but it does not give you. And I guess for a long time there was, or still to this day, you can't really get a American release of it because of the nature of it. And I think German,
What are some fucked up things in the movie?
there's people having bowel movements on each other and
Pooping on each other.
pissing on each other, and
Peeing on each other.
there's like extreme sequences of torture.
What year did this come out? Fuck.
Hold on. Early 2000s, I think.
Early 2000s?
No, 2009. But I believe it was.
Oh, wow.
I believe it was made quite a bit before that.
But it got released later?
Yeah, but
I see.
because it looks like a bit older than that. It doesn't really look like 2009. But like I was saying, you can't really get an American release of this film. I found it online with subtitles, surprisingly, and a lot of the reviews you'll read online said I saw the film but not with subtitles. And
So
it was,
I have no idea what
and I have
was
no
happening.
idea what was going on, but I don't think the subtitles
I-
would help, and
Yeah.
they don't really, because the dialogue is
you're
almost
paying
the dialogue is almost like I don't want to say Terrence Malick type dialogue, but that's
It's like throwaway
it's
dialogue.
like not throwaway, but it's very like
sparse.
and not really connected to what's going on. Like they have like these philosophical
too heady
type rant.
for-
It's very heady, and it's a really artsy movie for something with like a lot of people pooping on each other.
Well, it's called The Angel's Melancholie.
Yeah, but okay, so I get to the end of this movie, and there's about 5 minutes left, and I finally get like a really like. I get like an idea of what I
Some
think the
clarity.
premise of this movie is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I know what this movie is about, because I'm thinking the title, Angel's Melancholy, and what's going on in this movie. Basically, the only plot that you can really discern is there's these two dudes, and they're really odd, and they kidnap a few women, and they take them to like their house. Well, at the beginning, they meet up, and it's like implied that they're old friends meeting for the first time in a long time, because they like hug and shake hands. How have you been doing, and all this. And it's implied they're really good friends. But then they kidnap these women, and they're in this house with this old man, just brutally torturing these women for like 2.5 hours. And then the end is like really out
It's
there.
a 2.5 hour long movie?
It's really long, yeah.
Holy shit.
But
Literally.
Sick.
the idea
Holy
Because
shit.
it's everywhere.
the idea that I got of the plot is these guys are angels, and they've been like angels or dead, not mortal, for so long that they forgot what feeling is like what actually experiencing something is. Like they're almost comatose from being immortal. So they kidnap these women and do these most extreme of
Heinous.
sexual and physical acts
Yeah.
to remind themselves what it's like to feel something.
Wow.
Almost like
That's
that
dark.
was like my interpretation of it, kind of. And at the end, there's some things that like made me think that was like sort of the thrust of it, and also the title.
Yeah.
But at the end, there's like some really beautiful music, and like you're like, oh my god! And there's some beautiful images of like rollicking fields and like these people on these fields, and then all of a sudden it's like people pissing again, and you're like, oh, with this beautiful music, like there's this pissing shot with like this most glorious and calming and soothing of music, and you're just like,
It's like a Flomax.
oh,
Yeah.
What is
it's
happening?
one of those films that just makes you feel really odd, and it's hard to sit through, but it's kind of incredible in that way.
Interesting.
I liked it. I'd say tread lightly going into this one.
Tread lightly.
Cool. But yeah, so
So
this,
some depraved films, some good films.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good week.
Films.
So Capodilupo.
I have a first name.
Morgan Capodilupo. I just wanted to say because I wanted to get it right.
Has anybody ever called you Captain Capodilupo?
You can call me that if you want.
Captain
I
Capodilupo.
like Captain Cap.
All right.
We transitioned
Captain
from...
Capodilupo. What did you see this week?
I saw Devil, and I know you guys saw that too, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be the one to like bring that up because I really want to talk
So we're
about
gonna switch
this.
from depraved
To-
topics to depraved filmmaking.
Depraved filmmaking, yes.
Okay.
depraved of common sense.
Yeah.
So I was taking my daily coma nap the other day, and I was like, I don't feel like napping. I'm going to watch something on Netflix. So, of course, I went to the thriller section on Netflix, and I was like, Devil, what is this? I'm afraid of elevators, and this movie is about a group of people that get stuck in an elevator, and one of them is the devil. And Connor is holding up a poster of the absurd movie
Going
that is
down.
Devil. What's the tagline? What's the tagline?
The tagline is "Bad things happen for a reason."
Oh, because the toast lands jelly side down.
Okay, we're gonna.
Wait.
Oh,
The
wait, no,
reason,
wait,
though. The reason.
The reason that the toast lands and babies. What is it like?
Babies.
Bokeem Woodbine's in this.
Who?
Bokeem Woodbine. He's my fucking favorite.
Oh, he's
yeah.
like the scary security guard guy that's like assault and battery. Like, of course he's assault and
He's in
battery.
Total Recall, and he looks like such a doofus. Oh,
Who's gonna describe the
Oh,
toast?
You do it. You
Okay,
do it.
well, can I? We should
Alex,
first like
Alex.
actually describe what the premise of this film is.
There's people stuck in an
there's
elevator.
people stuck in
and
an
one of them's
elevator.
The devil.
Yeah, one of
period.
them's the devil.
And to explain the toast, please.
Okay, so
This is the best.
So in the room,
Best sequence
so in
of
the
all
room with
time.
the security guards, they're watching the footage of the video feed of the people in the elevator, and then it starts glitching out, and then eventually they bring in an investigator. Weird stuff's been going on. People have gotten injured in the elevator after really crappy sequences of the lights going out, and then almost, oh god, I have teeth marks on me. But then the security guard, who happens to be Mexican.
Yeah.
Yes, this
It was a
we're
good
playing
Mexican
up a
accent,
very,
but it
very
sounded
obvious stereotype, where this Mexican guard's like, wait, investigator, bad things happen. It's like, wait. Picks up a piece of toast with jelly on it.
Why is
takes
there
it,
like
Okay,
jelly
so
toast?
it's this security guard talking about Mexican folklore about the devil, and he picks up
Takes-
this piece of toast.
flips it in the air, and it lands
Yeah.
jelly side down. It's like, bad things happen all the time. When your toast lands jelly side down, when children hit their heads on tables, the devil is there, making
'cause
everything go
he's
wrong.
describing like how many times does a kid fall and their head just barely misses the table, but when the devil's around, the kid hits the table and he throws up the toast and it lands jelly side down. And he goes, and toast lands jelly side down. It's the devil.
wow.
And then the movie just keeps going, and I'm like, no, movie, stop.
No, we had to pause it.
Hold on,
when we were watching,
movie,
we had to pause it. We had to-
hold on, movie, come back here. Hold on, wait a second. What was that about the toast?
Excuse
hold on.
me.
What the fuck did you just say?
It's
What
like-
did you say about toast?
If-
Jelly?
Yeah.
What?
I think at that moment I
When
felt like
babies hit their heads and toast falls genocide down, the devil is present.
And then, of course, the jelly and toast is never mentioned or alluded to
No.
ever
Well,
again.
the only kind of allusion that they make to this is the fact that the entire opening sequence of the film is shot upside down, so you have all these really slightly interesting shots of Philadelphia upside down, and then there's like another upside down shot of the building where all this is taking
Yeah.
place, thrown in the middle of the movie.
And then at the end,
it's
when-
right side up.
Because the devil's gone.
Yeah, so he's
And
not
And,
actually
and
gone.
presumably the toast would land jelly side up.
I gotta read
Yeah, of
something.
course.
I gotta read
Yes.
something to you.
Read it.
Number 666 references. The building number is 333.
It is. I noticed that, and I was like, oh.
666 divided by 2. The,
I love how they need to describe it, to explain it.
elevator number is 6 and stops on floors 23 to 42. 2 times 3 is 6. And 4 plus 2 is 6.
Oh my god.
When the hockey match on TV turns on right after the elevator stops, the time of the match is 1:42. 4 plus 2 is 6.
Wait, but 4 plus 2
that's
plus
not-
1 is 7.
Yeah, that's
Shut up!
What? Don't focus on the 1. The floor that Sarah wants to go to is 42. 4 plus 2 is 6. And the floor that Ben needs to go to is 39. 9 minus 3 is 6.
That's not.
He's a genius, guys.
Yeah.
I love how they've actually like clearly thought out all of those equations and
I
like
don't think they actually thought those out. I just think people like, is this an actual verified
conspiracy
list?
theory.
No, it's probably on purpose.
They probably did that on purpose.
They-
Yeah.
they
But just like,
definitely
why
did
spend your
this.
time and money making
This
numbers add up to 6 instead of making a good movie?
Yeah, I know. So there's something to be said
other-
about this film in terms of like who worked on it. So this is a film that the story was created by and it's produced by M. Night Shyamalan, as many of you know, has a very
Shamalama dong.
who has had a
twist.
very much a declining career since his earlier films.
Yeah, that one with Rosie O'Donnell, you just should never drop it.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're joking, right?
No, look up M. Night Shyamalan's filmography. His
You're
first
shitting
film
me.
is not The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think he has
Oh,
like
boy.
one or two
I remember when
before.
I found this out. It changed everything.
It changes
I don't know
everything.
his first.
Because everyone tried. You always think that his first film was The Sixth
Oh
Sense.
my god.
Well, his
But
first,
what
like,
is it called?
film.
What is that film called?
Wide Awake.
Wide Awake.
Yeah.
Is that like an?
I've never seen it, but it's
Wide
Rosie,
Awake.
What is that
Leopold.
about?
Rosie O'Donnell, right?
Yes.
So
Why is she?
A 10-year-old boy goes on a search for God after his grandfather dies. Whoa, that's actually...
That's the first M. Night
That's really
Shyamalan
deep.
film.
except it has like a horrible rating or mediocre rating of like 5 or
2
something.
nominations. 1 for Young Artist Award. Best Performance in a Feature Film, Leading Young Actor. Nominee for Joseph Cross.
Was this at like a film
Wow.
festival or a?
These are just the Young Artist Awards. I don't know what those
well,
are.
Yep, that really
The
prominent.
YAAs.
So, yeah.
You know what?
Yas.
You know what I
Yeah.
really hated about Devil? They didn't give you enough time to like develop any of the characters. They just
No.
literally started like there was like a subplot about the investigator and like how his wife and daughter got like hit by a car.
That was
but then
really
that was just
stupid.
sort of like
Yeah.
dropped in order to like give you like blackouts and like the girl from Sex and the City like getting bite marks on her back, and I was just like, this is just really weird.
Yeah, no,
Why is
there-
this happening?
There's no character development.
But there's
This
one
one.
other really funny part, other than the
Oh,
toast.
I love that.
Wait,
part.
wait.
It's
What?
it's
I
the
love
two
that
characters are looking at a suicide note, and one says, "Usually suicide notes are either rational or
Yeah.
crazy, but this one's both."
It's a little bit of a, and you're
Dude.
just like, this is like a forensic scientist
Okay.
who's using like the least scientific terminology on the planet to describe a suicide note, and you're just like, what
They're
is
standing
going
way
on?
too close to an
No.
open window, like 65 feet
It's like,
off
shit
the
could be
ground.
like
Look,
caution
listen
tape
to this
or-
shit. This is
No.
his filmography when it comes to writing. M. Night Shyamalan.
Writing. Okay.
I'm gonna say if the films are good or if they're bad. All right. Praying with Anger, 1992. I have no idea. Wide Awake, 1998. Probably a masterpiece. The Sixth Sense. Never seen it. Heard it's good.
I like
Never
Sixth
seen
Sense.
it.
Stuart Little.
Amazing.
Great movie.
We all love Stuart.
Unbreakable. I couldn't get into it. Couldn't watch it.
It's good. It's good. It's not
Signs. Fucking love that movie.
I like Signs
It's
a lot.
fantastic.
It's a
The
good
Village. I heard it's dumb.
great. I like The Village.
Lady in the
It's
Water. I heard it's
horrible.
dumb.
I hate
I
it.
actually
The
kind of
Happening,
enjoyed
I heard
that
it's
mildly.
dumb.
horrible.
I think we
The
can
Last
agree on that.
Airbender. I heard it's dumb.
I heard it's
That
dumb.
is one of the
Devil.
most depraved pieces
It
of
is
filmmaking.
dumb.
Oh,
It is,
yeah.
it's very
And
good.
After Earth, it's dumb.
Yeah.
And then his upcoming ones are After Earth 2,
Oh,
Wait, what?
that's happening?
That's a
Jesus
thing?
Christ,
Because didn't that movie?
and then Untitled M. Night Shyamalan
Didn't that movie
project.
lose a
How
lot of
sad
money?
is this guy's career?
Didn't
What?
After Earth like
He's
tank
so
at the
sad.
box
One of
office
his movies
though?
doesn't
Didn't
even
do
have a
good.
title.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, no, this happens a lot of times
Alex, I
on
know.
MTV.
I was just making
you
a
know,
joke. I was
when,
trying to be
like,
funny, but
untitled
it didn't really
projects-
work.
She
okay?
kidding,
No,
bro?
I didn't. I'm sorry, Morgan.
Calm your pants.
He won Best Director. No, I'm sorry. He was nominated for Best Director in
Nominated,
2000
yeah.
for Sixth Sense.
Which is a good movie.
I have to throw out there that I think that the jelly scene is amazing.
I love that scene.
It is
like
beautiful.
I can't see it being a mistake. Like I can't see it being
No.
so bad it's good. I think it's just so good it's good.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh no, I love
Yeah.
that sequence.
Yeah.
It's like I
So
was trying to
beautifully
describe this the
contrived.
other day. Those moments that you just never forget.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last time. The scene in Pieces with the Kung Fu professor. It's one of those. It's a Kung Fu professor moment.
Yeah.
It's a jelly
Yeah.
side down moment.
When I saw the jelly side down scene, it reminded me of something you guys would write. Like it just reminded me of like something like totally random and like
It just felt like
it was funny. Like I don't know, I thought it was funny. I
Like,
I
laughed
loved
at
it. I thought it was great.
like
It was
something would have
definitely the
like
best scene.
we would have intentionally put in something like
totally.
Reptilian Goatmen from Planet Z,
Totally.
which is a film we worked on in 48 hours, and you should all see it if possible.
Do it. It's awesome.
Plug.
Plug.
But yeah, that was Devil.
So,
Devil.
Devil. Did
Don't
you watch
watch-
anything else?
Did I watch
Yeah,
anything else?
we did.
I watched.
We'll talk about A Serious Man in a minute.
I watched Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, my God.
Was it the first time you saw it?
Na. Yeah, it was the first time I saw it.
Oh boy.
Ass
Fun
to
night,
ass.
fun
Yeah.
How did I know you were gonna do? How did I know? How did
That's
I
what
know you were
everyone
gonna
always
do that?
says. One of my suite mates, her boyfriend came home and I was watching it, and I was like, he was like, "What are you watching, Morgan?" And I was like, "Oh, Requiem for a Dream." And he's like, "Ass to ass." I'm like, I haven't gotten there yet. Then I got there and I was like, oh.
Fucking Keith David with his creepiness.
Oh. I don't
Keith
know.
David.
It was just so. I,
really
was like,
like that
Jared
movie.
Leto, what are you doing to yourself? I
Oh,
love
he's so
you.
good in that,
Love
too.
You
He's
should
such
see.
a versatile
I
actor.
also saw Dallas Buyers Club, and he's
Oh, I want to see that.
he's in that,
He's a tranny.
and he's really good in it.
Or transvestite.
A cross-dresser, I guess.
A
maybe.
transgender
Keeping it politically
person.
correct on Film Fetish.
PC. Transgender person.
Use whatever term you'd like, but
He's,
he played.
he's in the LBGTQ Batman symbol #? !@ sign.
No, but his character's really interesting, and He does it really well, and Matthew McConaughey's fabulous in that film, and it's really good, and you should go see it.
So yeah, so I'm never doing drugs
But
ever.
Requiem for a Dream.
That's what I learned. But actually, like the sequences when they do the drugs are so cool. Like when they have like all those really fast shots of like their eye like expanding and like they're like.
Oh, it's so cool. And then they use like all those 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Like music too.
I love the sequence when they're laying in the bed together and the way they have like the split. I haven't seen it in a long time, but the split screen, right?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But I was gonna. The Ellen Burstyn segments of that movie are what make it work.
She's so
Because if you took
brilliant.
out that story, that movie would fall
She was
apart.
nominated for Best Actress or Best
Yeah,
Supporting Actress. I think.
she's fantastic in
crazy.
general, and those sequences are so good. Like the scene
part
where she
where
goes
she
to the
talks-
doctor's office,
Yeah.
and it's like in fast motion. You know,
I'm like, Sarah.
so
I think
perfect.
the-
Sarah, take your pills.
The best one is when she's giving the monologue to Jared Leto about why she's taking the pills and why she's bothering to aspire to fit in the dress.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
And all
'Cause she's got
those-
this clashing of like happiness and just really deep inner sadness that you see on her face. Like it's just like, it's so visually. Yeah, so did you like it? Did you
I like when I really liked the part because it really disturbed me when she was like putting on the makeup and like when she finally like fit into the dress and she was like dancing around her room and it was really like weird and I don't know I had to sit with it for like a couple of days and I was like this is just really like disturbing and I don't know it was.
It seems over dramatic at some parts.
Yeah, definitely.
It is.
But it kind of works.
It redeems itself at parts. Like when you're like, oh, this is so overdramatic, this would never happen in real life. And there's another part that's like,
yeah. The moment at the end when they're doing the cross cutting from everyone's demise.
oh
The
no.
part that freaked me out the most was when they were doing that, and then all of a sudden Jared Leto's arm starts getting cut off.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh god! Like, that was the one part I was like, okay, this is quite
I
a.
had to look away. I was like, oh no. There were parts when I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But
Has everyone here seen that?
I have not seen it yet.
You haven't?
Oh.
No, I'm going to.
Spoiler.
503 movie
amazing.
night.
Yay!
Yeah. No.
I did
never
see
again.
a film involving a type of drug of some sort. John dies at the end.
Oh,
Yay!
Which is nothing like Requiem for a Dream,
No.
I'm guessing.
Good.
But
really great.
yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's very, well, it's quirky. It's also just out there.
Quirky.
It's quirky,
Zoe
like Zoe
Deschanel.
Yeah,
Deschanel. No, it's nothing like Zoe
Quirky.
Deschanel, but it is very off the wall, and it is. I mean, it is independent. Yes.
Well, yeah. It's
So-
directed by Don Coscarelli, who is one of the great unsung heroes of American cinema.
I hear the screenplay is written by the same guy who wrote Bubba Hotep.
Well, that's
The
the director,
director, yeah.
Don Coscarelli,
Oh, okay.
directed, which Bubba Hotep is one of my favorite
It's
movies.
fucking
That is
awesome.
one of the ultimate movies that I'll say is way deeper than anyone gives it credit.
Really?
Because that movie has so many layers of subtext. Because I've seen that movie like 8 times.
Oh,
it has
I've only
so
seen it
many
once, but I
layers of
love it.
subtext and like commentary on like growing old and like losing your sense of self-worth. It's like a really dramatic film that just so happens to be about an Elvis impersonator played by Bruce Campbell stuck
The
in a
plot
rest home
alone
where
is hilarious.
an undead mummy is sucking people's souls out of their assholes.
And his best friend is John F. Kennedy.
They died me, this killer.
Yeah. Who was
played
an
by
old
Ossie
black
Davis.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Don Coscarelli's great. And
And Ossie Davis, wasn't he in?
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right
and
Thing.
Get on the Bus. And
Yeah.
He's in Jungle Fever too. One of those Spike Lee movies.
Yeah. Fucking awesome.
Ooh, he's
but
great.
yeah, so you watched John Dies at the End.
Yeah, John dies at the end. So it's interesting that having watched Devil and then watching this, seeing how this film that is a lot more fun to watch than Devil. Like, it is genuinely fun.
With a
and-
similarly ludicrous plot.
Yeah, no, it is ludicrous, but it takes that and it just runs with it, and it develops that strange, fantastical reality very well, and that's what makes it so great. And the fact that it deals with these strange themes about evil and the devil or the underworld, hell, existing throughout our world everywhere. It deals with those themes a lot more deftly than Devil could ever hope to.
Do you think that like John dies at the end? Do you think it like takes itself seriously? Because I sometimes felt in Devil that like they actually didn't realize that their plot was like
I don't.
absurd.
John Dies at the End is really tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah,
got those.
I read the book. I mean, I've never seen
Yeah.
the movie, but I read the book.
Don Coscarelli gets those great like practical, goofy like creatures
Yeah.
splattering and guts all over the place.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's
they
really fun.
Yeah, no, they realize that they have a
And,
goofy premise and then they work with it. While Devil,
Yeah.
they're like,
That's
it was
good.
like,
He
M.
did
Night Shyamalan's
fantastic.
like, guys, I
Fantastic,
have
yeah.
a really, really creepy story that we should totally make. And
Did an
everyone's like,
episode
I
of,
guess we'll make
Masters
this
of
a
Horror,
film.
too.
I guess
He did
it's
The
serious. We
Beastmaster.
don't know what we're doing. Ah! That's
awesome.
my feeling, where the Devil was approached with like a lot of caution because nobody was really sure what it was supposed to be, because Shyamalan, cryptic, no one knows what goes on in that guy's head. Both John Dies at the End is very consistent with itself, and it works really well. And I love the ending, which I don't want to give
ending's
away.
great.
Where
Watch
they're
it,
just
so I
like,
try not to.
yes, we're so glad you come, and they're like, oh, we'll be back in a couple minutes. They're not coming back.
Yeah, and it's got one of those great, you think it's over, and then it's like, oh wait, it's still going.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that changed everything. Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. Oh, now it's over. What?
That sounds like
I love it though.
I love the dog.
what I heard.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know I'm not.
Oh,
trying
and
to
there is one sequence I totally forgot about it until now. In a church,
Yeah.
that is so fucking great.
Yeah.
Like I was in the
They're
theater when
waiting
I
for
saw it
them?
in a theater, and I was sitting there watching it. I was like, I wish I made this. This
Yeah.
is so cool. And there's an animated sequence around the same time that is just totally unhinged, off the wall, crazy.
Oh yes, we have decided to tell the history in a format that you are more receptive to, cartoons.
Yeah, it's almost like that sequence in Kill Bill that's animated.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's like similarly over the top and like
Huh.
just so great.
Aaron, did you see any movies this week?
I guess in the extended time we've been like inactive.
Sorry about that. You're on
I've
hiatus.
seen there's 2 Louis Malle films. One of them was today. I watched Black Moon today, which was okay. But the one I really, really liked was Murmur of the Heart, and it's probably my favorite film I've seen so far this school year. And I just thought it was genius. So I guess it's about this kid in France in the 70s, and he basically has the coolest life. Like, you're watching this, and he's just he's not paying attention in school. He's stealing records from the record store. Then he gets smoked cigs with his friends, and he's got these 2 older brothers who they're just really cool, they're the coolest guys. And then bring him to this brothel and get a prostitute for him. And
Wow.
He's
it's
just living it up.
Aaron's dream life.
yeah, actually, if I was 14 years old in France,
If you're 14
this is
years
what I
old,
wish
that
I was.
sounds like the coolest life.
Yeah,
Oui.
but
Wait.
it's the most. I thought it was amazing because the whole time you just.
Wait, is that why you liked the movie? Just because he had a cool
No,
life?
no, no.
Okay.
I mean,
It was
partly yes.
a vicarious experience.
Yeah.
But that was the point, is that you are so jealous of how cool this kid is gonna his life is, and then by the end you learn he's really fucked up.
Really?
And he is
Yeah.
The
he
coolest
is
ones
off
always
the
are.
deep end.
I only saw the last half hour of it, but I kind of got even from that
Yeah.
that was sort of the thrust of the movie.
yeah.
And the very last scene when they're all sitting around, I thought was brilliant.
Best. I can't even describe how perfect it was to end a movie that fucked up, but in a happy way.
Yeah.
It was.
It was one of those great bittersweet
Yeah.
moments that just doesn't
Yeah.
say anything, but just what's happening is
Yeah.
makes so much sense within the context of the
I
character.
wouldn't.
see it, it
I
sounds
wouldn't
cool.
give the twist away, because the twist is
Exactly. Yeah.
is the fucked up part where you're oh, this kid's life isn't perfect, and I don't wish I was this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's hints leading up to it, and you slowly it's not really to spoil it, but there's one scene where the kid is dressed in women's clothing, and he's putting his mom's lipstick on or something, and that almost tells you what's about to happen, and then when it happens, you're just whoa, where did that come from? I do not wish I was this kid.
It's almost
Yeah.
like, from what I saw and what you're saying, a movie about that kid you knew in school you thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It came off
Yeah.
real cool, but then one time you went over his house after school and it was really dirty and there were cockroaches everywhere.
Yeah.
And his mom was drunk on the couch or something, and you're
It's
oh.
the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And I like movies that almost play with you like that. They kind of try and not twists, because every single twist movie is is it going this way, but then it goes this way. But movies that
Twist your expectations.
yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know, Murmur of the Heart by Louis Malle was my favorite thing I've seen in a long time.
But the other thing we saw,
Which one?
Goke body snatcher.
Yes.
Ah!
So we saw this right after we watched Devil, and it was incredibly satisfying and redeemed our entire day. It had everything we could have ever wanted.
It
in
has
a
everything you
science
could want in
fiction
a
horror film.
movie.
Yeah.
What is
Like-
this thing? What's it
Goke.
called?
When was this?
Body Snatcher
I've
from
heard
Hell.
of the title, but
It's
give me a little
70s.
plot
It's
value.
it's
Okay.
we saw it on Hulu Plus because it's one of the films that's in the Criterion Collection. It's from the Eclipse set when horror came to Shochiko, and which has 3 or 4 horror movies, Japanese horror films from Shochiko Studios from the late '60s. This was from '68. It starts off with a bunch of people on a plane, and there's a lot of things going on the plane at the same time, and you're like, is this going to be like a spy movie or a horror movie or
Well, with a
like a
name
political
gone
espionage
so many
movie?
directions.
Because there's like
Political
there's an assassin on the plane
And a bomber.
and a bomber, but then at the same time there's these birds like flying into the side of the plane and
And
like
like killing themselves.
killing themselves on the side of the plane.
And
But
then
then there's
there's-
like an extraterrestrial light, and you're like, oh my god, all shit's going down all at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
The whole time the sky is like this eerie
Blood red
and-
sky, and it's like this 10-minute sequence at the beginning of the movie, and then the plane crashes,
You
and the
almost-
title comes up.
You almost
Yeah.
you almost can't go. You can't describe it after that because after that anything is.
I don't want to
is
give
a
it away what
spoiler.
happens, yeah, but
Because-
it's crazy.
Oh, I'll have to see it.
I
It's
wanna watch
so
that.
much fun.
I don't have
Yeah.
Hulu Plus, but
So much
But
fun.
as we were describing, so as like the beginning has so many different elements and so many different directions where you think it can go at that point, which is really exciting to try and figure out where it does go after that. There are a lot of different elements that we like. The aliens. There's Japanese businessmen.
Yeah.
There's the American on the plane. There's the what else? Help me, guys.
I mean,
Well, I mean, there's the
It's
corrupt
really-
politician
Yeah.
having an
Yeah.
affair. There's
Yeah.
there's an awkward scientist. What was he?
Space biologist?
Space biologist. Yeah.
oh,
There-
that
Oh, we have
psychiatrist,
space
that
weed
really
over.
really creepy psychiatrist.
Yes.
Just like
Yeah.
whenever he talked, you like go away.
I-
That's
It's not really a spoiler to mention that there's also vampirism because that's in the synopsis. Like you read.
yeah.
Yeah.
Read that. There's
That's
also,
the unfortunate thing about,
yeah.
because it's like you're gonna look up. You're probably gonna see a plot summary before,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like vampires, and you what?
Yeah.
Whereas it would be, but we knew, so it was still
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, and the special effects.
Are great.
Yeah. No, they're really cool.
Awesome.
There's so many cool like rotoscope effects with such like a stylized feel to them, and
And the models that they use are really well done
Oh,
and
yeah,
well
the-
integrated.
great prosthetics and
Yeah. That prosthetic.
really inventive and creative.
That one prosthetic.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a precursor to like the plastic reality films of the '80s, like Cronenberg and
Oh,
like the thing,
Those are like
the thing, and
that's
stuff
how like
like
horror's
that.
supposed to be done. Honestly, like that's how.
Well, that's
how,
one direction you can go with horror.
I mean, like I would prefer that over CGI any day
Oh, in terms of practical effects, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
because I just feel like I'm not gonna go into that. Anyways, so you
I
guys
agree
liked
with
the
you,
film?
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
Oh,
yeah.
lovely.
So much fun.
Cool. So do we want to talk about A Serious Man?
yes.
Yes, we do want to talk about
We're
it.
gonna
All
get
right,
serious on
so-
film fetish
Grab my
now.
notes.
A Serious Man is a film directed by Joel and Ethan Coen and written by Joel and Ethan Coen.
Yes,
Like all
It's
their
about
films.
it's centered around
Larry Gopnik.
Larry Gopnik and his life as a professor in Minnesota in 1961. He is a Jew.
67.
He was a,
67.
It's late '60s.
in the
Because he's
beginning it
listening
said
to Santana
1961.
Abraxas,
Oh, okay. Because in the beginning it
I
said.
did not
Which I
order
believe- which I-
Santana Abraxas.
which I think came out in '67.
Why did it in the beginning? Oh, you know what? Llewyn Davis took place in 1961.
That's why. you're
That's why I'm
confused,
confused. That's how similar these films are. Yeah. So in the late 60s, and it's mainly just a kind of insight on what it was like to be a Jew growing up in Minnesota in the late 60s. Honestly, I think that's the best. It focuses
You could
on
al-
an adult man, but there
Yeah.
are definitely younger people.
You
in
could
the
also
movie.
describe it as a modern day adaptation of the Book of Job.
that's what I've always.
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
of it as.
I never like could put that into words, but you just like literally.
Yeah.
I don't know the Book of Job that well.
Book of
and I was
Job
raised
is basic-
Catholic, so.
Basically,
It's
oh,
this.
okay.
That's what-
yeah.
that's
it's
embarrassing.
basically more or less God does all the most heinous shit to this guy just to see if he'll still
Oh, I
Yeah.
do know
be
that
faithful.
actually. Yeah. The Book of Job. I always remember Job is mentioned in Mission Impossible.
I'm
I
just
don't
like Job
remember
from
why.
Arrested Development.
Theology
like,
from
this
Connor.
is me.
It is just, it's about Job, yeah.
Connor's theology lesson. On
There you go.
Fetish today.
Ding!
They talked about the Book of Job in Mission Possible.
On Film Fetish, you're hella film fuckers.
Jesus friendly.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite prophet?
What's your favorite gospel? Mine's Luke. I don't know.
I like the Gospel according to St. Matthew, directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini.
There you go.
There we go.
What is the voice?
I
don't know.
It's like
Sorry.
Mickey Mouse.
No, it's
Off, it's like
It's not Mickey Mouse.
Off-brand Mickey Mouse.
Okay, guys, let's get serious now.
Gungas.
All right. Wow. Anyways, A Serious Man. What can I say about this film? It's
man's
it's
dark
depressing.
times.
It's just there's so much struggle. It's a great depiction of struggle, life struggle, going to so many different people and them not knowing a single thing like that can help you, and just finding reasons to keep going when there really isn't a lot.
And like struggle, not in like the Hollywood sense of struggle, where it's you struggle and then
And then you
you
accomplish
overcome
something.
it. It's kind of like you struggle.
It's like
you
struggle-
overcome it. There's more struggle.
Yeah, it's like struggle but tough shit. That's life.
Yeah.
Life is
Struggle
struggle.
that was like so real that there were parts in the movie where I was like, I don't know if you guys noticed, you probably did. I was like literally like waving my hands at the screen and being like, why is this happening?
I know. It's really like
No, the
It was
world,
like-
You saw me.
it was
freak
the
like-
out.
world is ending.
It was like it was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode for like an hour and 40 minutes. It was like this Jewish guy just being in all these wrong places at the wrong time,
Yeah.
all this shit happening, and really not doing anything wrong.
No.
Not really. I mean, he's not like a selfish guy.
he's not. I don't think he's really like a good guy. But you
not
don't
terrible,
you
but he's
don't
not
dislike
bad.
him.
Yeah.
He's
No,
not a
he's
terrible
not like
person.
a villain or anything. But like he's also not a particularly good guy.
Well, he doesn't like try very
He's
hard.
just kind of
He's
a
trying.
pushover.
He's trying, but he just generally is. There's
He's
nothing
just
really.
a normal guy.
There's
kinda.
nothing really extraordinary about him or anything like really interesting about him.
No.
And he also the way he goes about trying to fix his problems are really not the right way you should go
He's
about
just
doing
not
them.
quite as forward and direct and demanding as he needs to be. Like his wife makes him go to the Jolly Roger and a motel when she's divorcing him and she has someone else to move in with.
See, I thought the worst part, the part of the movie that made me cringe the most was him paying for the guy's funeral.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man.
It's like, that is not your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just wow. The worst was when for me was when the rabbi told the whole story about the goy with the
The guy with the teeth.
That was
Yeah.
the worst.
and then
oh my god.
and then it had no fucking bearing to like
Yeah.
what
didn't
he's
even have an
saying.
end. I want to know why he had the thing on the back of his.
Yeah, and it was just like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Which is so
are you
perfect.
fucking
Yeah, which is
kidding me?
perfect.
So
'cause that's
perfect.
the point. That's
It's
the
like
point.
it's
not
just
supposed to have a point.
It's
And then at
it's,
the end of the movie, nothing happened.
I
it's like
love
an
how people
experiment.
complained about that ending.
Yeah.
Like even though it's foreshadowed in that goy with the teeth goy story,
Yeah.
goy with the teeth story. Like
because it's what does the teeth say again?
It says "help me" on it or something in Hebrew.
Help me
Yeah.
see.
yeah, help me save me.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why it's there, and who put it there? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
The reason why
It's
there's tornado.
really it's an experiment in anticlimacticism. I don't know if that's a word, but it's in giving you
but
exactly what you don't.
But
want.
in a way, it like the whole movie has this mounting sense of tension. and
It does. Like,
it's like
something's
a train
gonna
that-
happen.
A
He's
train
gonna
that's
murder
starting and it
somebody.
just keeps getting more and more.
Yeah.
Like it does have like a
there is
get
a bit
you
of a
racked up and
there is a bit of a payoff towards the end, but then it's met with things are twice as worse as they were before.
But it's so
Yeah, that's
realistic
Yeah.
because you're waiting for all of this stuff to happen and then it never does, and it's like real. It's sort of like real life where it's just you're just. I just feel like I was like
But
watching.
there's a lot
like
of waiting in real life for
hidden
you know,
camera
just
version
try.
of someone else's life. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
and then
noticed.
the acting is fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
noticed this time around watching it. I'm thinking about it in terms of other Coen Brothers films. They usually have like a minor character who, you know, usually maybe people won't talk about or really remember more than some of the more major things that happen, but that are integral to the theme or like scope of the movie. I always think of that scene in Fargo where Frances McDormand's character meets that businessman in the hotel, and the scene where he tries to sit next to her and she's like, no, I think you better sit over there. And everyone, like the first time they see the movie and then they remember that, they're like, oh yeah, what was the point of that? Like, what did that have to do with the movie? But then the more you see it, you realize that scene embodies the theme of the movie. And if it wasn't for that character, she never would have figured out what she figured out after that. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
So what would you say is the character?
The uncle.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the son, but...
The son too is really important, but I think the uncle's even in the movie less. And the uncle, I think, really embodies the theme of the movie, especially the scene where they're in the swimming pool and he says, "What did I get? What did I like?"
Yeah, it makes you feel like, okay.
And then you've been like,
clearly...
"Oh, this guy had a horrible life," and then when this guy's like, "What? You've got everything. What have I got?" And it puts things in perspective.
It's almost parabolic. Or whatever parable. It's like a parable.
Yeah.
It's like
Which
really.
Makes sense.
It's really. What's the word for to instruct? Didactic. It's very didactic. It's very. Yeah. It's a lesson, and I think that's one of the it's played off. It's like paced and the tone of that scene isn't played off like it's the most important scene in the movie, but I think it is. I think
that is the most important scene. I think,
especially because he says that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other really things that I found really like beautiful about the movie was that I mean, maybe I just noticed this because I like read into things because I'm just weird like that. But he was like a professor of really, really hard math that like nobody could understand except for him.
Oh yeah.
It's like he had like
I think
a line.
The Schrodinger's cat thing has
the Schrodinger's
some
cat.
symbolism.
I thought it was because he's like living this life where he's like alive on the out, like he's both dead and alive at the same time. Like he's like dead on the inside but like alive on the outside.
Or like
or
it could be like
everything.
He's living in a box and he can't tell if he's alive or dead.
That was
Is he
the first
in hell
thing I wrote.
or if he's in?
Yeah, there's also all that stuff about perspective, and the Schrodinger's cat thing kind of reminded me of the scene where the guy's like, look at the parking lot.
Yeah,
and it's like, is the parking lot amazing or is the parking lot like a piece of shit? Is the cat alive? Is the cat dead? It's
like how
perspective. And then also that scene in the
lot.
swimming pool makes sense in that sense too, because it's like you got to look at something from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then the end of the movie is kind of saying, whatever way you cut it, it still fucking sucks.
Yeah. The
Just
movie,
really bleak,
the movie is
great.
all about perspective, I think.
Yeah. Also, and the fact that they're putting you into this perspective, this late 60s Jewish culture that a lot of the audience
doesn't have that
connection. And this movie wasn't as popular as some of their others.
Yeah.
But I think if people had given it more of a chance and tried to put themselves in that perspective, you'd see that this has some real, like, relatable human themes.
And also, not to hammer this down too much, but there's a lot of POV shots. And that's probably the most wing-ding like thing I'm going to say, but there's that scene where the rabbi talks about the music that he listened to on the kid's box. So he got the perspective of the kid through the music.
Yeah.
So there's all these different things about, and then the reason that rabbi is so great that everyone raves about is because he can see perspectives of other people, whereas the other two rabbis were just totally worthless and they couldn't.
There's also the fact that he can understand other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
Or he can empathize maybe, but he also refuses to see anyone anymore.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because if he has a greater scope of what's going on in life or what God's purpose in all of this is, he doesn't want to tell. He can't bear to help people anymore because he just knows that it's not going to help.
He could very likely have been a symbolic God in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
He probably is the symbol for God in that movie. Whereas he doesn't take anyone except somebody when they go through a transition.
Also, the fact I think of like a Bergman film, like an Ingmar Bergman film with this theme.
We're really digging into
this theme of like the silence of God. Like, why does God not listen? Or even like Tree of Life. Where is God? Why did God do this?
Or like,
and there's
people know he's there, but they can't get to him.
Like, why would this happen? Is God not paying attention, or why? Like, is he just sitting
there? He doesn't
this,
look busy. What is he doing?
And this symbolic God in the movie is just sitting there, not doing anything. And are you gonna blame your troubles on him? Like, he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
He didn't like, and I think that's a really interesting thing that they play with because nobody has an answer. So.
He's mad because he can't vent to a guy who has no responsibility for him. Like, that rabbi doesn't have a responsibility to talk to him at all.
Oh, yeah.
But he's angry that he can't go see him. He thinks it's an asshole move by the rabbi when the rabbi really doesn't have to do anything. I think that, the movie's actually the more we kind of dig into it, I think it's actually a pretty brilliant film.
Yeah.
Oh, I
no,
love
it's
this
very
movie.
layered and
Yeah.
nuanced, and a lot of a lot of these disparate elements that we're talking about, come together very well, particularly around the theme of perspective. And then I think it's really interesting that for a film, a lot of us, I don't think any of us really identify as religious in any sense, and a film that has so much to do with religion is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the cinematography and how freaking
Yes.
awesome
So
it is?
Roger
Definitely do.
Deakins, my main man, shot this film like he
Who
does
is
with
just
most
like on a
of the.
fucking roll.
This
Yeah.
movie is
like film
so
after
good.
film, like
For those of you who don't know, Skyfall, also Roger Deakins.
Let the sky fall.
which I wasn't crazy about Skyfall. It had good photography, but
Oh, yeah, no, it had
I mean,
great
like
The opening
Photography.
credits were the
Fucking-
best part.
they were.
They were
I agree.
great.
I was like a
But
Dowdle
fucking
girl.
Prisoners was that's my film of the year so far, Prisoners. But the cinematography
Really?
in that film, it's
Past Gravity?
oh yeah,
Really?
Prisoners hit
Is that like Jake Gyllenhaal?
yeah.
I gotta see it. I love Jake
It's like a
Gyllenhaal.
pound of bricks
Really?
hitting you, and great cinematography
bricks.
from Roger Deakins.
It's like maybe
It's a lot
one
of-
brick.
Yeah, but when they're throwing them at your gut, it hurts.
Ah, that's true.
That movie, I was like,
I mean, a
ooh,
pound of
I got
anything.
hit by a pound of bricks in the gut.
Jared.
Ooh.
I guess.
Oh my god, it's a brick in the gut.
Yeah.
But
Cricket,
Yeah, how about that?
These guys, that, like, just saying, Roger Deakins photographed that film.
Is that how you
Looks
waited for the
great.
most silent moment?
Yeah. Comedic timing.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some great cinematography. There's great acting, great writing.
The
It's just a
production
Coen Brothers
design
movie.
is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
like-
smell the cigarette smoke in that one scene when he's like
Yeah.
sitting with her and there's like the neighbor and there's like all that like awkward like that scene made me.
I also not
like,
that I
there's
would
so much
know,
smoke.
but the scene where they get high,
Yes.
Yeah,
it
that's
seems-
the one.
super accurate. Like the whole whoa, everything's kind of
He's like looking at the
baked
iced tea
and-
glass. That's
yeah.
I love that moment
So
when
much
the
fun.
kid's high at the bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
And
great.
he puts the pointer on the words,
like, oh,
and then and then the rabbi grabs it and scrolls it all the way down the page. No, here's where you start.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
And
god.
then the kid in the seats.
They can't see you. It's a podcast.
Oh yeah.
I keep
Oh
on
no, there's a
forgetting.
kid
Imagine, like-
in the seats and they nod and it's really funny.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's also just so many little, like I was saying this
No,
yesterday, so many little details about the time period, or even about the characters, like that one kid who
So believable.
who you never really see. The one kid who's his friend, and just how he always says, "Yeah, hand me that fucker," and,
Oh, yeah.
that fucker, and this fucker, and the fucker over there. Everything's a fucker to this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just such an interesting character.
Yeah, no, the Coen brothers handled dialogue, particularly with different time periods, different well. I mean, you can see that with True Grit, especially,
yeah.
where it's just like, oh wow, this is done well. I mean, that was the one thing that I saw when coming out of that movie. Either way, back to serious.
I like that one scene with when it's almost he keeps on having all these nightmares repeatedly as the movie goes
Oh,
on
yeah.
and his life gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
And there's that one scene.
Connor freaked out during the
Connor,
one
you,
scene.
you can take this one. You can take this
Well,
one.
the
Don't
part
spoil it.
But don't spoil it. But
there's a certain scene
with the boat.
where he
That's it. That's it. Just say with the boat.
and
film came out in
what
2009.
occurs literally made me jump out of my
Yeah,
seat.
you'll jump.
It's
a waker upper.
Unironically, I was jumping out of my seat. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
Then
that
you'll-
scene is great.
The thing
Yeah.
with this movie is that it's hilarious.
Oh my
Dude,
god,
it's
I
so
It's hilarious
Yeah.
and tragic.
It's so depressing at the
Yes.
same time.
It
It's
reminds me of not quite to the extremity, but Todd Solondz's Happiness, which is one of my favorite movies. It's I don't know if this is the most depressing movie ever, or if it's one of the funniest movies ever, because it's kind of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely moments in this movie where I was laughing and then I was wait a minute, that's kind of I don't know if I should be laughing at that.
Yeah.
Even the
I
opening
laughed at a
scene,
part that no one laughed at, and I felt awkward.
Which part was
Well,
it?
I can't remember, but I laughed. It was it was something about, I can't remember what it was, but it was it was a scene with the rabbi, and he I think he said something, and it's
I noticed that none of us laughed during the scene with at the end where the kid sees the rabbi, even though it's pretty funny.
No,
But
actually,
none
I
of us
was.
laughed because
I just
we were
really wanted to
Showed
hear
the
what he
lyrics
had to
of
say.
the Jefferson Airplane song,
which is
right?
hilarious, but
Yeah.
none of us laughed because
'Cause I
it was
couldn't
just
really hear what
we
he
were
was saying.
in that moment, and
Actually,
we were almost I was almost putting myself in that kid's perspective. I was like, what's this guy gonna
There's that
say to
word.
me?
Yeah.
And I was kind of gripped, and then at the end I was like, oh wait, that was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, actually, I was like trying to hold in laughter during that entire scene because of just the strange set design in that the rabbi
That's true.
room, which is
Oh,
fantastic. But
you know
it
what I
was
laughed at?
engrossing.
Which not a lot of people laughed at? Was I think the picture of Abraham killing his
Oh,
son.
yes.
That's what I laughed at.
I wasn't sure
like,
if that was a picture.
It was like fucking
Yeah.
Jewish kid getting killed by this older man, and then he's about to go see.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
thought that was funny.
Really funny, yeah.
Well, it was an excellent film. Excellent time. Thanks so much for listening to Film Fetish Podcast. We will be back next week, I promise.
You better.
If you have any questions, please email filmfetishpodcast@gmail.com. That's it, right?
Hit us up on
or is it
Facebook.
filmfetish@gmail? I forgot.
Well,
Wow.
hold on. Let me
We'll figure
Really
this
bad
out.
you don't know your own email.
It is.
fact checking.
Judging
It is
Chris.
filmfetishpodcast
Yep.
at gmail.com.
All right. Email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns. If
Do
you
it.
send us a funny question on your email, we'll read
answer
it.
your question.
We'll answer it on the air.
Or you can
Awesome.
film yourself doing an interpretive dance, and we'll post it on our Facebook page.
Can I do that? That'd be awesome.
You can do that.
You can do that.
Yeah,
We're
go to our
accepting your
Facebook page.
interpretive dance submissions now.
Yeah.
Yes, but they have to be commentary on a film that we've talked about.
It has to be symbolic.
Do
But anyways,
do a melancholy Durango dance.
No,
For
no.
me, please.
Jesus Christ. All right. We also have a Facebook page. You can reach us at Film Fetish Podcast on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Look us up. Give us a like. And
It's that good old thumb.
that good old thumbs up. And we'll keep you posted. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been a blast. We'll be back next week with a movie. See you guys.
Bye.